So, welcome to the fourth episode in a series of webinars and podcasts focused on artificial intelligence across the US. My name is Lewis Adams Dunstan, and I head up the US division of Darwin Recruitment, where we provide top-level IT solutions for businesses across America. Today, I'm going to be joined by Ranxing Li, who is one of the leaders in the field when it comes to group product management within AI. Welcome, Nancy.
Hi, Lewis. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. So, Nancy is actually a PhD in material science and engineering from BU.
Yeah.
I understand at the age of 24, you was actually one of the youngest in your program history.
Yeah, for my PhD program. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
With over 14 publications, one patent, and you also got your business degree from MIT, right?
Yeah, I went
Awesome.
to MIT.
So on top of this, Nancy has also sat as a keynote and panelist at many different public speaking events that are focused on topics like IoT, smart cities, and edge computing. In her current role, which is at a Fortune 20 technology company, she leads the entire product definition and commercialization strategy of new products that leverage 5G and mobile edge computing. Nancy actually has a really interesting story and offers lots of coaching advice, negotiation skills, and influence opportunities on her YouTube channel, which we'll touch on a little bit later. But I actually wanted to dig a little deeper into her journey when it kind of comes from her start within fashion design to being a lead product woman within AI.
Yeah.
So, Nancy, if you could kind of start us off telling us where you're from, what it is you do.
Yeah, so I came from China 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, I only had $800 when I moved to the United States. And a few years later, as you noted earlier, I became the youngest PhD from Boston University. Oh. And the path through fashion design to technology wasn't that easy. And just earlier in my career, I had to always make justifications for myself trying to make transition, because people always make like tags on me, put a label saying that, oh, earlier she was from fashion design, she didn't know any engineering. And after I got into the engineering field, want to become the technology leaders in terms of being a product manager. Now I need to know the business side. Then people always put labels on me, say, oh, she's a PhD, she doesn't know business. So I have always trying to learn how to use the influencing and the negotiation skills to get to where I am.
Okay. Not the typical transition from fashion design to technology, though. So how did you go about that?
Mm-hmm. I would say that a little bit serendipity, but when I look into the details, I would say there are like 3 steps approach. And first of all, I rebelled my family to transition from fashion design to any engineering field. It's very personal. Earlier in my life, my dad just made decision. He was like, for a new woman, you're better to study something suitable for women. I think fashion design is very suitable for you. And after you graduate, it's very easy to get a job and you can marry a rich man. Those kind of mentality. But at the time, I was only 17. I didn't fight back with my dad. But in my head was like, what if I don't want to marry a rich man? I want to marry a sexy man. So all the crazy stuff going on. Then I finally spent 4 years in fashion design school, but still had the rebelling with my dad. Then I decided to apply for grad schools in the United States. Eventually, I got 5 offers with full scholarship, and I didn't pay any money. That's why I only came in with $800. And those offers, most of them has nothing to do with fashion design. They're in computer science, material science, and also environmental engineering. I wish I took computer science path, then my next transition will be easier, but I choose to do a PhD in material science. That's the first transition, which I see is the hardest transition. So the next jump was to transition from someone who's a scientist into doing something more business focused or more around the personality kind of style. Then I was able to again transition into more towards the technical product managers in a robotics company. that's step 2. And step 3 was being able to know how to sell myself, position myself, influence, and negotiate to gain the third jump into the AI space, which at that time, honestly, when I interviewed for that product manager position in the AI space, I had no clue how to use AI to solve problems for cities. I never had experience in that space. Somehow I got in and I crashed it. So the product we launched was to use AI and IoT to help cities to reduce car crashes. And it was awarded as Mayor's Best Practice in 2017. Now it's in 10 different cities. But the transition I see, in general, it's very hard to make overnight transition. You have to go step by step and build the skill sets and make the right connections down the road.
Why technology though? Because it is. Where's the crossover between fashion and technology? What is it that made you go, okay, technology is going to be my...
The crossover, I would say, it's not overnight. For the first crossover is that I want to do engineering.
Okay.
Just do not do fashion design anymore, even if I like fashion, as you can tell. And afterwards is any engineering field. But after I start to join the engineering field, I start to talk to people, doing internship, and more specifically, I look into the entire product launch cycle for any industries or any research field.
Right.
Then I realized that my passion is really to impact more people as through a bigger product launch or in a faster space. So therefore, in technology space, for example, using AI or building software, the product launch really fast and used to build some pilot within 3 months, take customer feedback and build something even bigger and faster. That's how I see I was able to make some changes and make greater impacts through technology or AI. Okay. Instead of in the relative slower paced industry. That's why I made gradual transition into this new technology field.
Okay. And touching on something you mentioned earlier about your father saying as a woman going into fashion that might be the right direction. It's quite a controversial subject, right, to be talking about women in technology. So faced with all of the other challenges, going into a field that perhaps you weren't as experienced or skilled in, having to present yourself as someone who could potentially be good as a product manager, product owner, but then also being a woman in the field. Yeah. How would you say that added to the challenge of getting into technology?
Very good question. You're right. It's very controversial. And yesterday, I just took unconscious bias training for myself. I would say the challenge mainly came from 2 parts. And first of all, there is not that many role models ahead of me. For example, as we all know, you need to network. Who really define your next step, right? Yep. There are not that many women like me in general in the technology field, which I find it a little bit challenging for me to just network and associate myself with other people. And also on the other side, just in general, the perception of the first, let's say the first impression of having a woman sitting on a table, in general, people in the past, people have thought that, she may not be playing an important role. Then I have to build the right skill set. For example, public speaking now became my strengths. I need to use those skill sets to let people see that I am the future leader. I am today the probably the smartest people in the room. You need to listen to me. Yep. So those, I can see challenges. I also see that there's ways to break those challenges. I also believe that the entire society is improving. That's why today you guys are interviewing people like me. Hopefully I can inspire more women like me so that we have more people more women like me ahead of me or after me. So we'll build more pipeline in the future. Thank you for this opportunity, by the way.
Hey, no problem. But that actually leads me on to one of my next questions, which is you run your own YouTube channel. Yeah. And you run a channel that's quite relatable for people who might be thinking about either going into technology or thinking about progressing in their career or maybe trying to negotiate a certain situation. You kind of touch on these things on your channel, right?
Yes, exactly. So I launched this channel in about a half a year ago, specialized in negotiation and influence. And my target audience is actually like engineers or people who want to make career transitions. And the main topic is mainly talking about how can you use those kind of influencing and negotiation skill set help you to being able to say no, stand up for yourself, and gain the right opportunities for others to see your value and being able to step on to achieve your dream. That's the purpose of the channel. But you're also right. The other purpose of my channel is to set some kind of role models for other people. And right now, honestly, on the media, there's a lot of great stories about somebody else dropped from Stanford and went to Silicon Valley and had a startup. He failed 3 times. The 5th one, he found Uber or something, right? But not everybody's success pattern is like that. So I wouldn't call it success. My way of a curvy road is getting where I am. I think maybe there's small percentage people sharing the same road. You didn't come from the best schools or best family, has the right influence when you grew up. But people want to get to the next level. I just want to share with them the true side of how the hardness have been through, what kind of emotional challenges or mindset changes I have to make in order to finally have some kind of breakthrough to get to where you are. Life is a marathon to me. I think there's many more new opportunities that everybody can create, but there's many paths to reach the finishing line of the marathon. Yeah, that's the YouTube channel is about.
We'll share the link of the YouTube channel at the end, but I think there's probably a lot of the videos that you share that are just not relatable to only engineers.
Yeah.
People in any field could probably watch these videos and get quite inspired.
Yeah, exactly.
But moving back to the technology, obviously, because that's one of the reasons we're here. If we're talking about edge computing, what would you say is the most exciting thing that you've seen in that space to date? Or currently, at least.
There's so many exciting things happening. So first of all, let's introduce the concept of edge computing. And not many people have fully understood this before. So in general, in a high level, you can see edge computing as decentralized cloud compute. I say this is today you can see lots of technology is happening. The computation is running in the cloud. Let's say the AWS cloud, Azure cloud, and many clouds today. But what if we run those computation directly in the edge of network? Means could be directly in your phone or directly at the end of the cell tower. So you bring the smart brain computation directly closer to customers. Just like your camera today, doing interview, could have AI in it, automatically select whatever I said was correct and forecast to the audience directly without doing offline editing. Because I added my own YouTube videos for a while, guys. Some of my videos took 5 hours, up to 5 hours to edit one video. It was crazy. Maybe you can teach me how to make it faster. Between 2 to 5 hours, you guys. Yeah, things like that. If we can bring AI into the camera today and run those, save my time, save my 5 hours into 5 minutes. But how would you do that? Because let's say today's camera is specialized in having amazing lenses, looking at me right now, right? And having the amazing microphone. But not all the cameras today have the brain power to process AI inside the camera. But how can we bring this AI, or brain power, computation power, closer to where the camera is? That's what this edge computing is able to empower. This is just one of the real examples that everyone can relate to, especially with filming this right now.
Sure. So when we're talking about artificial intelligence in edge computing, how is AI empowering edge computing now?
So let's say I would say the other way around is edge computing empower AI.
Okay.
So I can give you 2 examples. So first of all, let's say the product I launched for smart cities was the one to use AI and IoT system using smart cameras with different kind of sensors to help cities reduce car crashes. And what we learned was that the cities had a very hard time to really pay for all the smart cameras, those equipment. That was because those smart camera takes thousands of dollars, right? It costs $1,000. But cameras today, the cities already have thousands of cameras in the infrastructure today, but it was installed maybe 10 years ago. They're just streaming videos back to the cloud today. If we use edge computing to bring the dumb camera into a smart camera,
oh wow, okay,
then thousands of cameras today, we don't need to swap into smart Canon cameras, right? And just change the brain. Now, dumb camera can become the smart camera. You still use the same AI algorithm that our company developed, but push it directly into the dumb camera, and suddenly it can process all kind of like smart algorithm to help cities reduce car crashes.
Wow.
So that's one of the example I say edge computing empowering AI. That's I can see that one of the early adopter could happen in that way.
Okay.
And the second example I want to give you is, as you guys must be a big fan of Tesla, so am I. So I need to bring some example for people that they can relate to. Is that, so I believe about a year and a half ago when Tesla released their the Model 3 on the market, there was a competition to compete who is the fastest car in the market. At that time, Tesla was competing with a traditional like automaker like Ferrari, those stuff. The first competition, I believe Tesla lost at that time. Like somehow, of course, when you just getting started. But the result was the true motivation for Elon Musk to push his engineer work really hard. What ended up happened was he made his engineer to upgrade the algorithm, and they did overnight like upgrade of the software in the Tesla car. Then had another competition again.
So the same car?
It's the same car.
Right.
Then the car was able to become the fastest car ever, like I think it's like, what's the speed? Like 0 to 60 within 2.8 milliseconds.
They have the insane mode, right? Yeah.
The insane speed, right? So those kind of upgrade was empowered through today, for example, in the past, through like from cloud to a car. But if you can use edge computing, and tomorrow you can just upgrade your traditional car into a souped up car through those like powering AI to the edge of your car. That's one of the examples I'm very proud of regarding what the potential can look like. So Tesla is just one of the examples that's innovating today's automotive industry. And I believe we're able to use edge computing in like retail or manufacturing space. Potentially there were more Tesla for other space as well. That's how I see those two are integrated.
Interesting. So if you were to predict what's going to be exciting in 2020, where would you kind of put your interest, or is 2020 too short-sighted?
No, something will definitely happen in 2020. And first of all, 5G will be in lots of cities in 2020. 100%. It's not future, is today. It's happening today. And also in 2020, what I can imagine is that there will be more AI in automation. So lots of people thinking about AI regarding, well, we're going to do something crazy, facial recognition, whatever. Those is there already. Now it's about improve those automation, application-wise. I think the algorithm itself can be improved. In 2020, it's more about more adopters using similar kind of algorithm being applied to traditional spaces. Maybe there will be AI-powered Uber car in the future. I don't know, something like that. But I can see more adoption, massive adoption of putting more AI in day-to-day operations in 2020.
Interesting. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your insights. How do people kind of get in touch with yourself, Nancy, if they wanted to talk about the space?
Awesome. So people can find me directly through my YouTube channel,
Dr. Nancy Li.
So you can find me there. And in addition, you can also go to my website, negotiationlabs.com, which is where I have small group training about negotiation and influence and how to sell yourself, helping people to make career transitions. So 2 places, and feel free to email me anytime.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Lewis.
So thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate your time. We're going to be hopefully connecting with more thought leaders within the AI space throughout 2020. So if you're interested in speaking or meeting up and talking about specific subjects, then feel free to get in touch. Thanks.